Session 15, January 30th, 1981. Ra. I am Ra. I greet you in the love and the light of the infinite Creator. I communicate now. Questioner. I would like to apologize for my past and any future stupid questions due to the fact that I am searching for the proper entry into investigating the Law of One. We will be eliminating the stupid ones from the book. I would like to ask if the use of the instrument is a function of the time we use the instrument, or the amount of information, or the number of words the instrument gives. In other words, do I have to hurry and ask the questions, or can I take my time to ask the questions? Ra. I am Ra. There are two portions to your query. Firstly, this instrument's reserve of vital energy, which is a product of body, mind, and spiritual distortions in the various complexes, is the key to the length of time which we may expend using this instrument. We searched your group when we contacted you, for each in your group possesses significantly more vital energy of the body complex. However, this instrument was tuned most appropriately by the mind-body-spirit complex distortions of its beingness in this illusion. Therefore, we remained with this instrument. Secondly, we communicate at a set rate, which is dependent upon our careful manipulation of this instrument. We cannot be more, as you would say, quick. Therefore, you may ask questions speedily, but the answers we have to offer are at a set pace given. Questioner. This isn't exactly what I meant. If it takes me, say, 45 minutes to ask my questions, does that give the instrument only 15 minutes to answer rather than an hour? Or would we run over an hour and the instrument could answer for more? Ra. I am Ra. The energy required for this contact is entered into this instrument by a function of time. Therefore, the time is the factor, as we understand your query. Questioner. Then I should ask my questions rapidly, so that I do not reduce the time. Is this correct? Ra. I am Ra. You shall do as you deem fit. However, we may suggest that to obtain the answers you require may mean that you invest some of what you experience as time. Although you lose the answer time, you gain thereby in the specificity of the answer. As many times in the past, we have needed clarification of hastily phrased questions. Questioner. Thank you. The first question is, why does rapid aging occur on this planet? Ra. I am Ra. Rapid aging occurs in this third density planet due to an ongoing imbalance of receptor web complex in the etheric portion of the energy field of this planet. The thought form distortions of your peoples have caused the energy streamings to enter the planetary magnetic atmosphere, if you would so term this web of energy patterns, in such a way that the proper streamings are not correctly imbued with balanced vibratory light love from the, shall we say, cosmic level of this octave of existence. Questioner. Do I assume correctly in assuming that one of your attempts in service to this planet was to help the population of this planet more fully understand and practice the Law of One, so that this aging, rapid aging, could be changed to normal aging? Ra. I am Ra. You assume correctly to a great degree. Questioner. Then it would be very beneficial for the people of this planet in practicing the Law of One to learn ways of service. Am I correct? Ra. I am Ra. You are correct. If you will observe those oriented through a lifetime experiential distortion complex from near the beginning of that experience, you will observe a relatively youthful, as you would call it, appearance. Questioner. What is the greatest service that our population on this planet could perform individually? Ra. I am Ra. There is but one service. The law is one. The offering of self to Creator is the greatest service. The unity, the fountainhead, the entity who seeks the one Creator is with infinite intelligence. From this seeking, from this offering, a great multiplicity of opportunities will evolve depending on the mind-body-spirit complex's distortions with regard to the various illusory aspects or energy centers of the various complexes of your illusion. Thus, some become healers, some workers, some teachers, and so forth. Questioner. If an entity were perfectly balanced on this planet with respect to the Law of One, would he undergo the aging process? Ra. I am Ra. A perfectly balanced entity would become tired rather than visibly aged. The lessons being learned, the entity would depart. However, This is appropriate and a form of aging which your peoples do not experience. The understanding comes slowly, the body complex decomposing more rapidly. Questioner: can you tell me a little bit about the definition of the word balancing as we are using it? Ra: I am Ra. Picture, if you will, the one infinite. You have no picture. Thus, the process begins. Love creating light, becoming love light, streams into the planetary sphere according to the electromagnetic web of points or nexi of entrance. These streamings are then available to the individual who, like the planet, is a web of electromagnetic energy fields with points or nexi of entrance. In a balanced individual, each energy center is balanced and functioning brightly and fully. The blockages of your planetary sphere cause some distortion of intelligent energy. The blockages of the mind-body-spirit complex further distort or unbalance this energy. There is one energy. It may be understood as love-light, or light-love, or intelligent energy. Questioner: am I correct in assuming that one of the blockages of a mind-body-spirit complex might be due to an unbalance of, shall we say, ego, and this could be balanced using, say, a worthiness-unworthiness balance? Ra: I am Ra. This is incorrect. Questioner: can you tell me how you balance the ego? Ra: I am Ra. We cannot work with this concept as it is misapplied and understanding cannot come from it. Questioner: how does an individual go about balancing himself? What is the first step? Ra: I am Ra. The steps are only one, that is, an understanding of the energy centers which make up the mind-body-spirit complex. This understanding may be briefly summarized as follows. The first balancing is of the Malkuth, or vibratory energy complex, called the red ray complex. An understanding and acceptance of this energy is fundamental. The next energy complex, which may be blocked, is the emotional or personal complex, also known as the orange ray complex. This blockage will often demonstrate itself as personal eccentricities or distortions with regard to self-conscious understanding or acceptance of self. The third blockage resembles most closely that which you have called ego. It is the yellow ray or solar plexus center. Blockages in this center will often manifest as distortions towards power manipulation and other social behaviors concerning those close and those associated with the mind-body-spirit complex. Those with blockages in these first three energy centers, or nexi, will have continuing difficulties in ability to further their seeking of the law of one. The center of heart, or green ray, is the center from which third density beings may springboard, shall we say, towards infinite intelligence. Blockages in this area may manifest as difficulties in expressing what you may call universal love or compassion. The blue ray center of energy streaming is the center which, for the first time, is outgoing as well as inpouring. Those blocked in this area may have difficulty in grasping the mind-body-spirit complexes of its own entity, and further difficulty in expressing such understandings of self. Entities blocked in this area may have difficulties in accepting communication from other mind-body-spirit complexes. The next center is the pineal or indigo ray center. Those blocked in this center may experience a lessening of the influx of intelligent infinity due to manifestations which appear as unworthiness. This is that of which you spoke. As you can see, this is but one of the many distortions due to the several points of energy influx into the mind-body-spirit complex. The indigo ray balancing is quite central to the type of work which revolves about the spirit complex, which has its influx then into the transformation or transmutation of third density to fourth density. It being the energy center receiving the least distorted outpourings of love light from intelligent energy and having also the potential for the key to the gateway of intelligent infinity. The remaining center of energy influx is simply the total expression of the entity's vibratory complex of mind, body, and spirit. It is as it will be. Balanced or unbalanced has no meaning at this energy level, for it gives and takes in its own balance. Whatever the distortion may be, it cannot be manipulated, as can the others, and therefore has no particular importance in viewing the balancing of an entity. Questioner: you previously gave us some information about what we should do in balancing. Is there any information that we can publish now about any particular exercises or methods of balancing these centers? Ra. I am Ra. The exercises given for publication, seen in comparison with the material now given, are in total a good beginning. It is important to allow each seeker to enlighten itself rather than for any messenger to attempt in language to teach-learn for the entity, thus being teach-learner and learn-teacher. This is not in balance with your third density. We learn from you. We teach to you. Thus, we teach-learn. If we learned for you, this would cause imbalance in the direction of the distortion of free will. There are other items of information allowable. However, you have not yet reached these items in your lines of questioning, and it is our belief-feeling complex that the questioner shall shape this material in such a way that your mind-body-spirit complexes shall have entry to it. Thus, we answer your queries as they arise in your mind complex. Questioner: yesterday you stated, quote, "The harvest is now." There is not at this time any reason to include efforts upon these distortions towards longevity, but rather to encourage distortions towards the heart of self. For this, which resides clearly in the violet ray energy field, will determine the harvest of each mind-body-spirit complex. End quote. Could you tell us how to seek, or the best way to seek, the heart of self? Ra. I am Ra. We have given you this information in several wordings. However, we can only say the material for your understanding is the self, the mind-body-spirit complex. You have been given information upon healing, as you call this distortion. This information may be seen in a more general context as ways to understand the self. The understanding, experience, accepting, and merging of self, and with other self, and finally, with the Creator, is the path to the heart of self. In each infinitesimal part of yourself resides the one in all of its power. Therefore, we can only encourage these lines of contemplation, always stating the prerequisite of meditation, contemplation, or prayer as a means of subjectively, objectively using or combining various understandings to enhance the seeking process. Without such a method of reversing the analytical process, one could not integrate unity into the many understandings gained in such seeking. Questioner: I don't mean to ask the same question twice, but there are some areas I consider so important that the greater understanding may be obtained by possible restatement. In other words, I thank you very much for your patience. Yesterday, you also mentioned that when there were no harvests at the end of the last 25,000 year period, quote, there were harvestable entities who shall choose the manner of their entrance into the fourth density, end quote. Can you tell me what you mean by how they will choose the manner of their entrance into the fourth density? Ra. I am Ra. These shepherds, or some have called them the elder race, shall choose the time space of their leaving. They are unlikely to leave until their other selves are harvestable also. Questioner: what do you mean by their other selves being harvestable? Ra. I am Ra. The other selves with whom these beings are concerned are those which did not attain harvest during the second major cycle. Questioner: could you tell me just a small history about what you call the elder race? Ra. I am Ra. The question is unclear. Please restate. Questioner: I ask this question because I heard about the elder race before in a book, Road in the Sky, by George Hunt Williamson, and I was wondering if this elder race was the same race that he talked about. Ra. I am Ra. The question now resolves itself, for we have spoken previously of the manner of decision-making which caused these entities to remain here upon the closing of the second major cycle of your current master cycle. There are some distortions in the descriptions of the one known as Michael. However, these distortions have primarily to do with the fact that these entities are not a social memory complex, but rather a group of mind-body-spirit complexes dedicated to service. These entities work together, but are not completely unified. Thus, they do not completely see each the other's thoughts, feelings, and motives. However, their desire to serve is the fourth dimensional type of desire, thus melding them into what you may call a brotherhood. Questioner: why do you call them the elder race? Ra. I am Ra. We call them thusly to acquaint you, the questioner, with their identity, as is understood by your mind complex distortion. Questioner: are there any wanderers with the elder race or not? Ra. I am Ra. These are planetary entities harvested, wanderers only in the sense that they choose, in fourth density love, to immediately reincarnate in third density rather than proceeding towards fourth density. This causes them to be wanderers of a type, wanderers who have never left the earth plane because of their free will rather than because of their vibrational level. Questioner: while in yesterday's material you stated, quote, "We offer the law of one, the solving of paradoxes," end quote. You also mentioned earlier that the first paradox, or the first distortion I meant, was the distortion of free will. Could you tell me if there's a sequence? If there is a first, second, third, fourth distortion of the law of one? Ra, I am Ra, only up to a very short point. After this point, the manyness of distortions are equal one to another. The first distortion, free will, finds focus. This is the second distortion known to you as logos, the creative principle, or love. This intelligent energy thus creates a distortion known as light. From these three distortions come many, many hierarchies of distortion, each having its own paradoxes to be synthesized, no one being more important than other. Questioner: you also said that you offered the law of one, which is the balancing of love light and light love. Is there any difference between love light and light love? Ra, I am Ra. This will be the final question of this time space. There is the same difference between love light and light love as there is between teach learning and learn teaching. Love light is the enabler, the power, the energy giver. Light love is the manifestation which occurs when light has been impressed with love. Questioner: is there anything we can do to make the instrument more comfortable? And can we have another session today? Ra, I am Ra. This instrument requires a certain amount of manipulation of the physical or body complex due to a stiffness. Other than this, all is well. The energy is being balanced. There is a slight distortion in the mental energy of this instrument due to a concern for a loved one, as you call it. This is only slightly lowering the vital energies of the instrument. Given a manipulation, this instrument will be well for another working. Questioner: by manipulation, do you mean she should go for a walk, or we should rub her back? Ra, I am Ra. We meant the latter. The understanding must be added that this manipulation must be done by one in harmony with the entity. Are there any short queries before we leave this instrument? Questioner: is it possible for you to tell us anything about what, since we are wanderers, anything about our previous density, which density we came from? Ra, I scan and find it acceptable to share this information. The wanderers in this working are of two densities, one of the density of 5, that is of light, one of the density of love light, or unity. To express the identity of which came from which density we observe to be an infringement upon the free will of each. Therefore, we state simply the two densities, both of which are harmoniously oriented towards work together. I am Ra. I leave you in the love and the light of the infinite Creator. Go forth then, rejoicing in the power and the peace of the one infinite Creator. Adonai.